the energetics in 2026 and beyond for the male and the female, the masculine and the feminine, what does healthy, to break out those patterns, what does healthy embodied masculinity look like in the world right now? What the fuck do we need?
It's a great question, and I get reluctant to answer, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you a very direct answer in a moment. But I'll tell you why I'm reluctant to answer it, because, and I don't care how I'm seen, that's not the issue. I just don't want to tell people how to be and what to do. I want you to figure it out yourself. Like, that's part of the, and not to say, again, we're relational beings. Like, I believe in connection. And when I say figure it out yourself, not you, but, you know, like,
Yeah,
me too. Don't do it in isolation.
Yeah.
But be in solitude with that question. But essentially, to really distill down that exploration, I would say self-ownership, self-accountability, and willingness. It's a form of self-leadership. Really be willing to look at the places that you're hurting yourself and hurting others, that you're coming from a pattern, a behavioral pattern or emotional, relational pattern that isn't yours. It's your parents, or it's your grandparents, or it's an old version of you. And it's not really serving who you say you want to be. And it's not really serving, again, values are subjective. Like, even collective values of what we stand for is subjective. Like, what the US stands for and what Pakistan stand for, generally speaking, are going to be two different things, right? There's some crossover, sure, but generally speaking, they're going to be quite different, actually. So values are subjective, and they're relative. And so this is why I'm mindful of saying this, because what my values are may not be another man's values.
Yeah.
Not wrong or right, it's just the way I see it. But again, I get you asking from my perspective. So I will say self-accountability, self-ownership, radical in that sense, like really, to a point of discomfort if you have to. And don't be a punching bag or take the rap for something that you haven't done. And willingness to get uncomfortable. I don't think, we just don't, we live in a very, very easy world, man, compared to what it has been. Right, like I just look at my grandfather, World War II, fighting for the Germans, or he's Italian, fighting for the Germans. That switches, Mussolini dies. Well,
yeah,
that regime switches, right? I mean, he did die, but how he dies is different. He's then captured, concentration camp for 2.5 years. Then, nothing. Italy's devastated. Europe is devastated. No work, no money, no food. He comes from a poor family. Meets my grandmother. She came from a considered to be wealthy family. Still poor, but wealthy family, right? Considered back then. They disapproved. They still got married. He disappears to Australia. Disappears. To start a life here in Australia. Not here, so we're in America. But to start a life in Australia. 5 years. Leaves my mum and my grandmother when she was 2. Makes money. Gets a house. Sends them over 5 years later. Doesn't have his little girl for 5 years. That's a fucking man, bro. Worked all his life. 16 hours a day, whatever he did everything for his family. Selfless. To a fault, but selfless. They don't fucking make him like that anymore, man. I'm not like that.
Don't.
Like, I'm tough, but I'm not fucking tough like that. I saw my wife give birth. I ain't fucking tough like that. So we live in a fucking soft society, man. Generally speaking, and I think there's something to be said for being tough and resilient, but not in an egoic way, but in a substantive, in a way of substance. Like, just the core of us, like we have grit. Like, we can endure some difficult things, and not out of addiction or our own self-loathing, but because it's possible for us to be that as men. So again, that's just my perspective, man. Like, there are areas of my life where I'd like to be more resilient, tougher, more patient. Like, part of being tougher is also being more patient for me. Because one thing that my life is highlighting to me of late, especially after having a daughter, is my capacity for patience. Not that great. And my ego battle with that and hating that part of me and thinking that I'm weak for not being patient and et cetera, and the story and the rhetoric, like all of that. And so my ability to just face that and be okay with that and diffuse my personality around that. Like, we're not self-reflective, man. I don't think as a society, we're very fast paced, we're very busy, we're very distracted, we're very in survival mode. We don't spend a few minutes at the end of every day contemplating our day, contemplating our behavior, our thought patterns, our interactions with people. We just, and part of that is because of the world that we live in, right? Like the collective priorities that are placed on how to be a human. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that, you know, I saw something today. My friend put a post out. He was talking about copper, totally unrelated, right? Copper cups. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how the ancient Indians and Ayurvedic medicine would pour water in copper cups, and enough trace of that copper would seep into the water, and you drink the water and you'd have enough of that trace mineral. It's a very important mineral, and et cetera, et cetera. So he's going to the health benefits of all that, like grey hair. You and I, you got a bit of grey, I got a lot of grey. You know, like it's good for that, right? And then he said at the end of that post, this is my whole point, maybe the old ways are the good ways. Maybe the old ways are the good ways. I can't, what was his name? I can't remember what president it was. Oh, I should remember what president it was of the US. Oh man. Anyway, he was a boxer. He did jiu-jitsu. He was a fucking beast. At least that's how he's portrayed. I don't know if he's accurate, but that's how he was portrayed. And he got in it, man. He was a leader. He was one of considered to be one of the greatest presidents of the US. And he was in it, and he dedicated his life to discipline, to being a better human. Again, these are accounts. I wasn't there. I don't know. It's what you read about him, right? The heroic tales of this president. But up until a very late age, he would fight. He was an intellect. Like these are a lot of what the ancient Greeks did. Mm-hmm. A lot of what Mesopotamia and ancient Rome, like they were scholars, but they would also spend hours in the gym. The gym meaning outdoor playground, right?
Rocks,
philosophizing,
boulders,
connecting. And look, again, just before anyone says, oh yeah, but they sodomized. Yes, I get that. Like all bad shit happened too. Yeah. My point I'm trying to make is like, can we take the good? Yeah. Can we take the useful, the productive, right? We don't have really time for that anymore, man. Do we have time to sit and again, like philosophy for the sake of philosophy is empty, but do we have time to just be with ourselves, to be with our brethren, to you know, our peers, to move our bodies, to be in the sun? Like, I don't know, man. We just don't make time for ourselves in that way. And we lose an element of connection to self, resilience, toughness, and a willingness to endure in healthy ways.